let me go ahead and get started here. First off, it will be helpful here if everybody sort of throws away all of the internet chatter with respect to search engine marking, search engine ranking, because we're going to build a more intelligent, consistent framework here, etc. I do understand that there's a lot of clutter on the internet. Kendall encounters this all the time. There's a lot of myth out there, etc. Secondly, let me draw a distinction from my lay perspective between search engine marketing and search engine optimization and social media marketing. The distinction is that if you optimize your website to maintain very high ranking in the search engines, of course you help to make it possible for people to find you. In your universe, you don't have that much competition with respect to monolithic structures. But I inherently view that as a position where you're waiting for traffic to come to you, you're making it easy for people to find you, but I inherently regard that as somewhat reactive in character. The distinction between that and social media marketing, in social media marketing, you are publishing content, you're reaching out into the social media sites, you're going out and getting this traffic and this connectivity, and that is inherently proactive, and that will become very, very important here. Secondly, and this is subtle, but I think this is really important, there are two reasons I see why this is especially an optimum pathway for you to follow, and why I think you're particularly well advantaged for this, what we're going to be talking about today. And it comes from these observations. First, you're not selling a 1995 widget where you're competing with another product based upon price and sales and all of that. Very implicit in what you're doing is an education component. You have to teach people about why this is such a better solution, the attributes it has, etc. Therefore, you're ideally positioned for content marketing, that is sending out the education component of what you're doing, and that's very optimal for social media marketing, and that's not the case with the majority of companies around the nation. Secondly, because you have so many benefits that go in so many directions, you have a very unique opportunity to capture a lot of audience based upon keyword selection and the analytics that we know will drive traffic to that. An example of that is you're not only more energy efficient, you're not only fireproof in what you're doing, etc. You create very survivable structures. You can survive 300-mile-an-hour winds and hurricanes, etc. Each of those particular topics is in and of itself rich in keywords. And the analytics and capabilities this technology represent is we can go out and identify those keywords very, very specifically and rather accurately, and I find this stunning, predict the traffic that you will get from that. Lastly, there's two really critical components to what Kendall is doing from my lay perspective. He not only has the capability to do all of the search engine optimization, search engine ranking stuff, but to take that a step further into social media marketing. Kendall has a proprietary algorithm that allows him to reach out into all of the social media sites, currently numbering about 1,000, a number that's expanding, and open accounts in those, and simultaneously, by an enter code, publish content across all of them.
Whoop. Mike, we just lost you. Are you there?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. This is Jim.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. With respect to social media, typically a company will hire a chief information officer, and they will task him with manually opening accounts in 6 or 8 sites: Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, etc. Kendall's technology fundamentally reaches past that into all of them simultaneously. And second, there are approximately 350 of those social media sites that have more than 1 million regular users. Within that universe, we can use the keywords and the other technology here to micro-target any specific demographic. So to the extent that you can carefully define your audience, Kendall can target right to it. And with that, Kendall, I'm going to hand it over to you.
Thanks, Mike. I appreciate that. So let me start with just some simple observations about really what we are as a company and what we're focusing on, because I think that context is important. In addition to the great introduction, Mike, thank you for that. Really appreciate that. So in addition to the technology, one of the things that I really focus on that Mike did allude to is that everything that we do for our clients is focused on new revenue generation. And in order to get to new revenue generation, we're looking at all of the marketing channels available to our clients and focusing on them much like you would expect a financial advisor to focus on a balanced portfolio for a retirement planning process. You're not going to have all your eggs in one basket, and social media is just one of many arrows in the quiver of marketing that a client should be looking at in a comprehensive marketing strategy. But we're going to drill into the details of what we consider the digital marketing components that are most important and that generate the highest return on investment for our clients. So when I talk about digital marketing, and we have on the screen here search engine marketing, or SEM, SEO, and SMO. And I put those acronyms up here to really kind of, caveat this whole conversation to say the challenge in my industry, unlike, being a tenured professor at University of Washington, or unlike being a licensed dentist, or being a licensed medical professional, you've got 4 years of undergraduate school, you got 4 years of medical dental school, you got, years of specialty, you have continuing education, you have a peer standard group that reviews everything you do, and a state licensing board. That just doesn't exist in the industry of marketing in general, but specifically in digital marketing or search engine optimization. So the challenge here is that there are literally hundreds of thousands of quote unquote SEO consultants that have different strategies, different solutions. And so filtering through all of that information is really simple in concept to talk about, but it's an unbelievably complex environment when you really get underneath it. And that's kind of where I hope that you see the differentiation with what we're doing, is because at the heart of the matter, I'm a software engineer. And that gives me a perspective that I'm looking at the bits and the bytes, the ones and the zeros, and I'm looking at the ins and outs of how does this work, and being able to understand from a technical perspective what's required in order to achieve the desired result. So when I match that technology capability to the industry of brand management for clients, it's always focused on lead generation and how do those leads get converted into new revenue. So with that context, let me kind of go through a few slides here. Some of this may be fairly rudimentary. Some of it may go way past your understanding. So if at any point you want to kind of interject or start a conversation, please feel free to chat. Mike is going to be monitoring the chat session and can interrupt me. So if you have any questions or want to stop and dig a little deeper or say, let's move on, please jump in. So really the question that we're going to try and address here is, can new prospects find your website? Because ultimately the goal is that they're either going to call you or they're going to submit their contact information via the website to begin that sales funnel process, to begin that relationship building process to ultimately end up in a sale. So when you're talking about answering that question, okay, so now my screen froze. There we go.
Friday.
Yeah, of course. So when we're talking about all of this, why are we focusing on search engines? A lot of people still do not understand, and I find it hard in this day and age, with so many things connected digitally, that people really don't comprehend yet the importance of search engines and now social media as it supports search engine optimization. So we really try and say, look, there's 85% of all new visitors are originating from a search engine. And the three largest are Google, Yahoo, and Bing. And if you don't understand how big that is and how important it is, you're never going to shift your investment from a marketing standpoint to allow you to take maximum advantage of that channel for your new revenue generation. Now, bottom line is, I shared this story early on with some folks that came on early, that we actually built this software for a business that we were involved with and have grown it from our own use of the software. So we use what we sell, and we know it works. So from the standpoint of importance of search engines, again, 85% of all new visitors, and this is from a GVU user survey, come from and are being matched to their felt need or their identified need by keyword with a search engine result. Now, interestingly enough, when you do a search query on any one of the search results, you're going to end up with hundreds, if not thousands, and in some cases, millions of pages that have been indexed for those particular keywords. And I'll show you some examples of that, but literally there can be a million pages indexed for the particular content that you're talking about. What's important about that is that if you don't rank in the top 3 pages, you're basically not going to be seen, because the reality is less than 7% of users are going to surf beyond the first 20 listings or the first 2 pages, and virtually nobody goes past the first 3 pages. So unless you're showing up there, it's kind of like, if you can't get on the first 3 pages, just go home and don't even have a website, because it's not even going to matter. So that's kind of the importance of marketing. And there's a Forrester research report that kind of substantiates that even further, that if you look at all of these components in the arrows in the quiver of marketing that you have available, search engines by far are the #1 way that people are getting connected to service providers, solutions, products, widgets, whatever they need. And it's not that these others aren't important, and it's not that you can't generate results from it, because television is still a large market. People are still making lots of new sales from television. So this is not to say those are not important. But if you're looking at a balanced portfolio, you should have a component of your investment marketing budget allocated to search engines and now social media. So when we talk about this, I'm going to run through these things pretty quickly, but we have what we call the SEO success pyramid. History leaves clues and success leaves clues, and we've built our strategies based on some proven methodologies that are part of, I come out of KPMG Pete Marwick, which is a very rich environment that teaches you workplace management, large project work engagement management principles. We were part of the Malcolm Baldrige Quality Awards. So I understand the tick and tie methodology, and we've applied those things in this business to deal with the SEO success pyramid. So all of these components are part of what we apply whenever we engage with a client. Now, just to make sure, you don't have to take notes on this, and I'm going really fast through some of this, but we are going to send out a copy of this PowerPoint and the attachments to everybody that's participating in this afterwards. So you will get a copy of this, and please don't worry about being able to look at this in some more detail. Now, the process for what we're doing has been defined into specific things that I'm going to walk through with you. The first is obviously doing an initial analysis. What I'm going to show you today is a keyword analysis, a visibility report, and an SEO compliance audit, and some competitor analysis, which are really the first 3 steps in looking at, can we really help you? Do you need our assistance to achieve the goals? And what are the economic benefits associated once we achieve the results that we're after? So I'm going to kind of go through those, and then the rest of this cycle talks about some of the main components of things that we do on both a one-time upfront and an ongoing monthly basis as far as the process. Now, in any account that we work with, we have a typical structure where we try and deal with all of the digital marketing components. So that includes SEO promotion that has both on-site and off-site factors. And if these are terminologies that you're not familiar with, basically on-site means anything that is directly related to the on-page, on-website, base website URL for optimization purposes. And I'll show you some of the specific things in our SEO compliance audit that addresses those on-site factors. And the off-site factors are things like SEO directories, article directories, other places that are not directly on the base website where you get links built and you have articles published and other activities. Now, next to the SEO promotion, there's the social media. And I'm going to go through some of that in more detail, talking about the technology that we have and why it's important. Bottom line is, social media has created a tectonic shift in terms of what's happening in the marketing world. What's going on in social media is as important as the launch of the internet up through the 2000, .com boom and bust. It's as tectonic as the telegraph was, as the copy machine. It is monumental in terms of what's happening there, and you need to understand it to be able to take advantage of it. Then there are additional components that we talk about, pay-per-click, email campaign management, infomercials and video production. Graphics are a big deal right now, infographics, some of those things we'll talk about as well. Now on page optimization, again, I've talked about that. I'm going to go through the SEO compliance audit on the monolithic.org website to show you some of those details. How it works, I'll talk about keyword priority analysis, content, optimized meta tags, and a variety of the things that are involved in the regular ongoing SEO maintenance. The other document that we're going to be reviewing is the keyword assessment. Now, that is an absolutely critical foundational piece to everything that our clients do, whether it's website related, search engine related, social media related, email marketing related, pay-per-click related. Keyword selection is absolutely critical. And it's a very sophisticated arena, and as you'll see, that Mike alluded to, I'm gonna walk through an Excel spreadsheet that shows this preliminary keyword analysis in a bit more detail. But for right now, we're going to be talking about root keywords, stem keywords, keyword phrases, and then short tail and long tail keyword phrases, because all of those have different aspects to them that really relate to how do you select keyword priority focus. Now, a keyword root is something like home or roof or dentist. And that's a one keyword phrase that on the very left side of this graphic is really valuable keyword positioning. And if you're able to rank there, you're going to have tons and tons of traffic. The challenge is it's unbelievably competitive to do that, and it's really, really expensive to achieve that in a highly competitive environment. So on the right-hand spectrum, you can see 6 and 7 on the lower end are those long tail keywords where it's, concrete dome home in Seattle, lowest cost. Okay, so a phrase like that is easier to rank for. There's not as much competition, but there's not as many people searching for that phrase. So on the right-hand side of the spectrum, it's really easy and not expensive to get ranked in those long tail keywords. So what we're trying to accomplish is that middle peak of the pyramid where we achieve the best traffic from the highest value keywords that have the lowest competition, but the highest traffic count for monthly activity in terms of the number of people searching for those keywords. Okay, Mike, I just want to check in and make sure you're still here and everybody's still on board. So let me just pause for a second.
Kendall, let me a moment here. Let me draw a perspective that may be a little bit helpful to all of you. Here's what's at stake today, and I divide this into 3 universes for you. First, you want to market the domed homes through Monolithic. Secondly, you have this project in the Philippines, of which I have massive confidence, and so does everybody else. We can take that to the planet. I'm scared, frankly, just with the people that introduced how much traffic that we could generate just from the people I know. But here's an organized way to do it. And third, you have a newsletter that you're publishing where you have a circulation of 30,000. What is before you is a comprehensive marketing solution, a complete solution for everything internet that will have and I honestly believe this, a massive impact upon the number of people that you're talking to and an ability to control your pace of marketing. So we're talking, if we just look at the newsletter alone, we're talking about a very, very significant increase in that circulation. It's not going to happen in a week, but you're going to start to see real growth in that on the order of a month or 2 months, and then the acceleration on that curve upward is going to be very rapid. There's a lot at stake here. This is a comprehensive marketing solution that I would not take the risk of recommending if I were not 100% confident that this worked and I'd had a great deal of experience with it. So,
excellent. Thanks, Mike. Well, so I had referred to the off-page activities, and so this here is just a list of some of the major activities that we focus on, which include, forum posts, everything down to answering questions on Yahoo, doing blog promotions, and then social media and video promotions. Again, the bottom line here is that we're after conversions with our clients and with the activities that we put in place. We're tracking everything. We have very specific analytics that allow us to track the performance of all these activities to see what's working and what's not working, allows us to quickly modify and adjust the programs to get to the desired result. And that's really what we're after, is this visitor trend that's going to start from where you are today and progressively on a month-over-month basis show you the increase in keyword search listings, and that the website traffic is going to increase corresponding to that, and that your conversions and increase in sales are going to relate to that increase in that traffic. Now, one of the things that we're going to talk about is the impact of social media. And this graphic basically talks about the world of social media in categories. So each one of these columns represents kind of a social networking category. So on the left-hand side, you have the top 10 video sharing social media sites. In the middle, you have social networking sites like Facebook and High5 and MySpace and others. And then the third column, you have blogging and Newsvine and Reddit and some of the social bookmarking sites. And then you have others in the middle, which like LinkedIn and Names and Plaxo, which are the social professional career related sites. And then you have the next column, which is press release sites. And then the next column, which is photo sharing sites. And then on the very right-hand column is the journaling or the blogging sites, so Weebly and WordPress and the others. And just these 7 columns, 10 deep, represents 70 social media sites that if all you did is logged in, created username and password, added your picture, and started posting information, it would be a Herculean effort to try and distribute just a post a week to each of these websites. The simplest way to describe this is that we've created a social networking content distribution solution that is automated, where we write the content once and then it's distributed to all of these sites and more. This is just a graphic representation. This is the maximum that we could efficiently squeeze onto this page to make the point, but that we're publishing our clients' content globally to all of these sites. So it's a content. Sorry, go ahead.
Define content.
Sure. Just like there's different categories of social networking sites that all have different criteria. So Twitter, for example, is limited to 149 characters, text only. So you can do certain things in Twitter that you can't do in other more robust sites. So WordPress will let you basically publish, an unlimited number of characters, including HTML tags plus graphic images or video embeds. So our system allows us to publish to the corresponding API of the target social media site, whatever their system allows by their rules. So if it's a video sharing site like Vimeo or Veo or Cowigo, we publish video. YouTube obviously is one of the biggest there for creating a channel, but you can optimize video and it's ranking very well in terms of driving traffic. So content can be a video, it can be pictures, it can be infographics, it can be a press release, it can be a news story, it can be a blog article, it can be what we call a scrap, which is those 149 characters that you can tweet. So that is the list of content that's part of what we publish.
Any text, any video, any audio.
Yep. So again, to emphasize the point, we want our clients focusing on, are we generating more new revenue than what they're investing to get that result with us? And so we want it focused on kind of a marketing savings account, and that's what we're focusing on, is this compound interest, that the long-lasting benefits of a correctly designed SEO and SMO campaign is going to drive substantial results. Now, I want to get into the details of what can we provide in terms of substantive details to support this premise. So let me go out here to the keywords. Now I'm going to be sending out, again, I'm just reiterate that we're sending out all these documents to everybody that's participating, so you'll have time to analyze these and go through this. But this is an Excel spreadsheet called Keyword Analysis for Monolithic. And at the bottom here, you can see different tabs that reflect keyword root groups. So we have a group called Monolithic Dome Homes that relates to column A here, is all of the keywords in this group of Monolithic Dome Homes. And you can see, as I scroll down here, there's 390 different keywords for different ways that people search and describe what they're looking for. So even though it seems simple in concept to say, oh yeah, monolithic dome home, well, there's literally hundreds of different ways that different individuals are searching for that same group concept but describing it differently. And you have to show up in as many of those with the highest number of searches as possible. And that's what this spreadsheet is showing. So the keywords for Dome Home are different. And you can see there's almost, let me go back up here. There's over 400 in that category, just for 493 just for Dome Homes. So then you look at floor plans, home floor plans, and then geodesic dome homes. Again, you can see a variety of different keywords, the way people are describing that. Now, at the top, what we have are the column A is the keywords, column C is the average monthly searches, and what this means is this is how many people actually searched for that exact keyword last month. And then this shows the for the whole year by month, the actual counts, and this number is just the average. So there was, on average, 3,600 people on a monthly basis that went on to Google and typed in Dome Homes in that specific construction.
Let me make an observation here with respect to the science. Let's just take a look at domed homes. Notice that there's some difference of traffic here specific to the time of year. Notice that the time of year builds up. It starts early in the year and it builds up in the spring when people start looking. There's a huge micro-targeting capability here. And the other thing, Kendall, I don't know if you will touch on it, but one of the capabilities of the system is that you can target very specific geography. In other words, you could, for instance, use this to target the Dallas market and focus on it specifically.
Yes.
That gives the ability to tactically plan what you're doing in market. You could target the state of Texas. You could target Seattle. You could target the nation of Indonesia or Haiti for the domed homes. You can micro-target within all of this by this keyword selection, wherein we know the numbers, the size of that market going forward.
Yep. And that's really what's called the localization of search. So Google and the other major search engines are all moving to two major shifts in search this year are semantic search and really heuristic semantic search, as well as localized search. So there's been massive efforts on the part of Google to focus on relevant search results based on geography, and the way they're doing that is by IP identification, so that if you're in Dallas and you type in Dome Homes in Dallas, in fact, let me go do that exact example. So if you type Dome Homes in general, this is the search result that you're going to get. So you can see in the About Results section that I've just highlighted, there's 236 million pages of content that have been indexed by Google for this keyword phrase. Now you can see here that my search results, I did a previous search result for New York, but let me do for Dallas. So I can set my IP address to mimic or basically simulate that I'm in Dallas, Texas. So now these results are going to show for Dallas, Texas. And you can see that it changed. And if I also go in and say Monolithic Homes, Dallas, Texas, whoops, would help if I could spell right. Those results are even going to be different from that perspective. So and in that case, you can see the number from 200 million down to 2 million means that in the Dallas marketplace, there is not as much competition for that keyword phrase of Dome Homes in Dallas, Texas. So you can pick your major metropolitan marketplaces, and it's in some cases easier to rank for local keyword focus than it is for national or global coverage. And this helps you penetrate specific marketplaces where you want to focus on, because either the economics fit or the weather fits, or the profile of the purchasers fit. So there's a lot of sophisticated ways to focus on localization in addition to the keywords as root, because all of these tools make a difference. So one of the things I wanted to show you is if you right click on the website itself, you can do things like view page source. Now this is really the underlying infrastructure or the HTML code that explains to the browser how to display the information. So all of this code starts with an HTML, Everything in the head here is kind of the instructions to display. And part of that are the meta tags. So you can see this meta instruction, and there are meta tags like meta content, where it's the description. And in this case, there's a keyword, which is really interesting because part of the challenge that I'll show in the SEO compliance audit is the way that these meta tags are constructed is not optimized for search engine reading. Now, in spite of that, you can still see that on very specific keywords like Dome Homes, Dallas, Texas, monolithic.org has done an excellent job and is very well positioned for that particular keyword. So if we go back to the Excel spreadsheet and look at Dome Homes, on average, there's 3,600 monthly searches based on your position in just Dallas or Dome Homes without the keyword indicator, your number one position. Now, what Google publishes is that the number one position in the organic results, not the paid results, where it includes pay-per-click, that the number one position will account for 41% on average, about 41% of the click-through traffic, which means that anybody typing in Dome Homes, 41% of those people are going to click through. So that means that 41% of these 3,600 is about what you should be seeing in terms of monthly website visitors to your website based on Dome Homes. Now on this spreadsheet in the green, I've highlighted the keywords where your website ranks very well in the number one or number two position. So you've done an excellent job in that regard. The ones that I've highlighted in yellow are ones where you don't rank in the top 30. So in those cases, if you type in modular home floor plans, same amount of traffic that's available as for Dome Homes, but people that are typing in modular home floor plans are not finding monolithic.org. So therein lies the opportunity that we're talking about of looking at all the keywords, down the spectrum and saying, where do you rank? Where do you not rank? And what is the potential economic benefit when you achieve ranking in those particular keywords? So I'm going to take one of these keywords. I'm going to take the modular home floor plans. I'm going to go back to the PowerPoint in just a minute and talk about what we call do the math kind of scenario to say, what does this mean in terms of new potential customers? But before I do that, I want to jump over to the website SEO compliance audit. Now,
hey, Kendall?
Yeah, go ahead.
Just one real quick question. How do you come up with your list of what the search terms are, given, the one route in is domed homes, but another could be like ecologically sustainable living or something like that, which isn't going to show up in the list you have, but could be something that would route to.
There are a number of ways to do that. The easiest way that you can do this yourself is actually going on to Google AdWords if you have an account there. They have what's called a keyword tool. So if you come in here to the Google account, go to Tools and Analysis, and then you have the Keyword Planner. If you go into the Keyword Planner, it will allow you to type in either the website, so you can type in the actual website here and search for keywords based on how Google analyzes your site and comes up with different keywords that it thinks you're trying to rank for, or you can type in specific keywords here like Dome Home and then search for it, and it will give you not only the count for that, but it will give you similar keyword ideas. Down here you can see other keywords around that.
So the list that you were providing there was just grabbed from like a Google Analytics analysis of the Monolithic site.
Yes and no. We have a proprietary tool that does look at Google, but one of the things that we've determined is that Google does not benefit by publishing the absolute truth. So there are there are some motivations that we're pretty clear that we're not going to rely on their published information, and we're going to do our own research. So we have other tools and our own proprietary tools that we take a mix of that. So we look at their published information for pay-per-click budgets that are in fact useful information to gauge as far as cost and what it might be from a pay-per-click budget standpoint. But we do validate the counts and the validity of other keywords from other sources, recognizing that Google does not have a vested interest in making sure we know what the best keywords are.
Right, but those are, as I'll belabor it, but as you get into something where you are routing traffic to a site, for instance, with Monolithic, traffic could come to their site because somebody's searching for big inflatable ball. And that won't be part of any of this, but it's a part of the Monolithic site where they sell large inflatable balls, 6 foot, 8 foot, diameter inflated balls. And somebody could find the site through these other kinds of searches. And so this is only one slice to say people who are presumably qualified leads only on the basis of I'm searching for the thing I want to build rather than say the function I want to obtain, a sustainable home, for instance, or something along those lines.
Sure.
And so
part of
that exactly goes to the point of what I said early on in the discussion, that you have, by virtue of what you do, you have all of these keyword universes that you can target. You have an unusually broad capability to target different universes, different market sectors here, because you cross so many. That's a unique attribute to what you're doing that you can really exploit here.
Yeah, absolutely. So whether it's the main services or the main products, or if it drills down into specific fastener brackets for attaching a water heater to a cantilevered wall. I mean, those are specific things that people may be searching for. Those will actually show up on the Google Analytics. So after somebody types in a unique keyword that might not be reflected in this keyword analysis, it'll show up on the analytics, which is why we look at those analytics every month to say, hey, we're seeing new search words showing up that we may need to focus on that and really put a concerted effort towards that, because we're seeing a trend that might not have shown up in the analytics of the keywords when we first started. So we start off with a baseline, look at all the services, look at all the potential keywords by keyword groups and keyword focus for either products or financing or services, or any that you could possibly come up with, as exhaustive as we can make it, given what we're limited to as we begin, and then constantly evaluating those keywords, because these keywords change both in count and in relevancy as searchers continue to search. So one month, not only the count changes, but the actual keywords, and as they're constructed, that changes as well. So you have to stay abreast of this, because the keywords are constantly changing, just like Google and Yahoo and Bing are constantly changing their algorithm to try and prevent organizations like mine from being successful. It's this constant cat and mouse game. So you have to stay abreast of not only the algorithms and what you're doing on the website itself, but analyzing the keywords and staying abreast with that. So it's a constant analysis and reporting and looking at the results to make sure you're constantly adjusting your strategy. So the other thing, so real quick, let me jump, before I go back to do the math, I wanted to just go through our SEO compliance audit. Now, what this is a fairly extensive technical analysis of the construction of the website. Because Google sends out a spider or a robot to gather information about your website and then rank it compared to all the other websites that it has in its database for those particular keywords, it looks at things a particular way. It gives an instruction to a robot or the spider to crawl your site, and it brings back certain information that includes some of the things like title tag, like the keyword tag, or the description tag. Now this goes back to what I pointed out earlier, which is the source code. So here are your source code pieces. So this meta tag of description is what shows here for the description tag. Now, it's not constructed exactly the way that Google is expecting to see it, but because it has this descriptor at the end, the name description, Google is able to interpret it, and this is how they show it coming up. So it has this interpretation of the code, but for the case of keywords, because it isn't constructed in here in the meta tags correctly, it's not showing the keywords appropriately. So it's confusing to the search engine. It doesn't know whether this meta tag here is the intended keyword, because it has a different property and it doesn't have the traditional construction of the meta tags, and it doesn't know if this is in fact, the correct keywords, so it interpreted it as there's no keywords there. Now, that hasn't stopped your website from being ranked, because this is not the only factor that's there. But if it was an apples to apples comparison, and this was the only thing left that was a difference between yours and a competitor's website, yours would rank lower because of the absence of the correct construction of these keywords. So this is the type of thing that this report identifies, is all of the details of, analysis on the page of, how large is the page, how many objects on the page, how long does it take to load, giving some recommendations on that, looking at the title tag construction, the keyword meta tag construction, the description meta tags. We have, a lot of detail in here that we'll send that, you can implement it yourselves. If you have internal staff, you can have your webmaster do it if they know how to do it, or we can be retained to do it. It doesn't matter, but our basic criteria is somebody needs to fix the things that are identified here, because they're stopping you from ranking for specific keywords where you should be ranking. And we can talk about those in terms of this keyword program here, where all the ones in yellow are keywords that you're not ranking for. So when we look at meta tags in general, again, I alluded to the fact that they're not correct, not that they're not correctly constructed. They're not constructed in the traditional way that the Google spider is expecting to see them. Now, there's also some meta tags that are missing. Now, we talked about localization and the importance of local search relevancy. The last three keywords here are what are called the geotags. So I've highlighted in there, and it's ICBM, which is basically latitude and longitude. And then you have the georegion, which is the state, and the geoplace name, which is the city. So those tags are actually missing. And so the objective would be to create pages that are city specific, like in Dallas for Dome Homes, Dallas, Texas, so that these indicators for geotags would assist in ranking those local pages. So that's just part of, again, a very extensive report that we're going to provide, for your review to say, okay, yeah, I understand what this is, and we can fix these things, and that'll help us rank. So we've covered the keyword scenarios. We've covered the SEO compliance audit. Now let's go back to the SEO presentation. Let's talk about what we call the pure math webinar. What I started with is that we're after return on investment. How much revenue does the marketing investment return? I don't know about you guys, but the last time I used the Yellow Pages was as a doorstop. I don't know anybody that's seriously looking at the Yellow Pages to find information. Television is about a 2 times return on investment. Radio is about 4. Email is 5 or 6 times. SEO and SMO are 8 to 12 times traditionally. We've seen as high as 32 times ROI for SEO activities. Now, how do we calculate that? Our goal is to answer the question, how do you get new viewers searching online every day for your keywords to come up first? So modular home floor plans as a keyword, and let me flip real quickly back here. So modular home floor plans on average was showing 3,600 searches each month. How do you get your website to rank number 1? Currently, your website is unranked in the top 30 on Google for that. And so the question is, obviously, what portion of those visitors do you get to your website last month? Probably not any, because you're not ranked there. Now, what that means is, let's look at this as when we are able to get you ranked for modular home floor plans, that means you're going to have first shot at getting the highest percentage possible of those 3,600 unique visitors that are coming to the search engines and are clicking through to find the information that they're after. And when you're in the number 1 spot, out of 3,600 visitors, you should have 1,476 potential website visitors coming through to your website. Now, that doesn't mean they're going to contact you. It doesn't mean they're going to call you. It doesn't mean anything other than they're going to click on your website and start looking at what you have to offer. That's when you have the opportunity to, begin the sales process. But now you have a prospect who's visiting your website. So that's the objective. And this is what we use to quantify. And we come up with a metric to say, okay, if we go through 3,600 new people, out of that, you're going to get 1,476 new people that visit your site each month. Then if you take, your average conversion and what is the average value for that target customer, that can be specifically translated based on your existing closing ratios, your existing experience for the traffic that you have from your website, to calculate out the projected new monthly revenue that you could expect to achieve once we do what we do and get you ranked for modular home floor plans. So that's just one keyword, and that gives you a very specific formula that you can use this yourselves and calculate based on your information and come up with, hey, is this a market that we want to go after? And that's really the do the math presentation. So if we look at that calculation versus what it would take to generate 3,000 unique visitors to your website, if you were paying pay-per-click, and we just assume an average pay-per-click cost of $2, which is really low. It can be much higher than that. The marketplace for this is not that competitive, so you can buy pay-per-click relatively inexpensively. But if you wanted to buy 3,000 clicks on a pay-per-click Google AdWords campaign, you'd be investing about $6,000. Okay, so and there's a lot of companies that just do that because they know it's going to get them in the advertising space. They know it's going to generate about a 1 to 2 times return on investment, and they don't know how to do organic, so they're willing to sacrifice time to market and speed to just buy it and position there. Compared to an organic investment, to achieve the same kind of result is almost a third less than that scenario. So this just gives you an idea of the value of organic versus pay-per-click and what digital marketing can do for you. There are a variety of strategic marketing options, things that we would specifically recommend for beginning and exploring a relationship, things that we'd recommend that the website could do or your overall marketing strategy could be incorporated. Again, local city strategy, video blogging, email campaign, pay-per-click can be used on a select basis. We actually really don't like pay-per-click, but there are some specific reasons why you want to use it, and we can talk about it in some more detail. And then local marketing strategies. So with that, I just wanted to kind of wrap up and say I really appreciate the opportunity to present this. This is a lot of data. I'm going to send this out to everybody. I'm happy to take questions right now and see if there's any specific things that we can answer, but I really appreciate everybody's time invested today and the opportunity to kind of lay this out, and happy to explore any questions.
A comment from me. If you have an extraordinarily capable webmaster doing your stuff, you can duplicate some of the stuff, assuming, again, that you have an extraordinarily capable webmaster. There's something here that you cannot duplicate. You cannot duplicate the ability to upload the content to 350 1 million plus visitors social media websites and then micro-target therein to the specific demographic you want. You cannot duplicate that internally at cost, period. So what this does is it really forces a shift in direction and emphasis with respect to internet marketing. It specifically focuses you down to producing the content and then publishing that in an intelligent schedule. Now, you guys are already massively rich in content. You're massively rich because of the newsletter. You're massively rich in the content on the Monolithic website, so you already have all of that. But it changes the direction from going out and trying to sell over the internet to publishing the content and establishing your reputation in any market that you want to target.
And going to keywords.
Far more intellectual refocus on what you're doing than a pure marketing or sales effort, because this provides that underpinning sales organization to do this, but the refocus to content. And lastly, of course, you can do this in any language. You can do it anywhere in the world.
Okay.
Now, the other thing that I'll point out here too is what we call keyword saturation. What we're talking about is, if you notice on the, in fact, let me go back over here and just do side by side. Let me just do Dome Homes. So in the Dome Homes result, you were number 1 for this, and you can see there's 10 other organic listings on page 1 that are all different websites. Competitors and Wikipedia being informational, and a video site here from CNN, Huffington Post as a news story, but a few, probably half or more, are competitors. but you're showing up once. So you have a 10% saturation on the top 10. And what we're doing and what we're able to accomplish with our strategy is actually what we call keyword saturation and website saturation. So for one of our clients, which is Malo Dental Implants in New Jersey, if you type in dental implants, Rutherford, New Jersey, and this you can do on your own computer to verify and do it yourself. You can see there's 8,500 page results, which is a lot of dentists in a little town of Rutherford competing for this. But our client is #1 organically ranked. But then you can also see that the social media site of Yelp, where they're listing their account that we've created for them on Yelp, is also ranked #2. So now they have a 20% saturation in the top 10, which doubles the probability of a prospective client finding them and clicking through to them. As well as we also have the third listing, which is a YouTube video for our client. We also have #4. We also have the Google Plus, which is #5. So, and then this Fox News story is also Malo Clinic, which is our client. The Yellow Pages listing, which is also our client. The Facebook listing, which is also our client. The Merchant Circle listing, which is also our client. So out of the top 10, the only one that is not ours is the Frost Dental Group. So 9 out of the top 10 on the first page results are going to go to our client, right? There is a much higher probability of a prospective client clicking through to a Malo site when you have 9 out of the 10 options are to your client. So this is part of what we provide the benefit also, that instead of your competitor showing up in #2, #3, #4, we will get your Yelp account, your Merchant Circle, your Insider Pages, your Yellow Pages, your other social media sites listed so they show up as well, which increases the saturation and increases the probability of prospects clicking through to your website. So this is all about saturation branding.
Okay.
So Mike, that was
Questions?
a really good point. I appreciate you bringing that up.
That's a good. I'm glad you get that. That's huge. And you guys are ideally positioned to do this in multiple categories. I mean, you're tailor-made for exactly what you see on the page here by virtue of what you do. Period. You're an ideal case to do this.